All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to On Loose Lines. Got a few things going on here. Not a lot though. 2 days in a row with doing. At least I know the audio is working. 2 days in a row live streaming, but you'd have a bit of fun and talk harness racing. I did do a little tease there before that Daniel Hibberd will be joining me, and Daniel will be, but I'm just waiting. He had a little bit going on, and he will be joining me very shortly. Good morning to you, Katie Perry Evans. Not sure what's happened here. Something's gone wrong. What I might do, Katie, I'll get you back in a sec. I've had a bit of a malfunction, and it looks like we're back going again now. So all systems go. How is Wales, Katie? The weather's starting to turn a little bit here. It's still very, very cold in winter, but we do know summer's on its way. Be interested to see how it is going in Wales if it is the other way. And thank you very much for joining in the other night. And yeah, hopefully in 12 months' time, myself and Mark Hughes could end up across there having a bit of fun. Never know. We'll have to wait and see see how that one goes. Cold and wet already. Still got some nice pictures coming out of the area, so it is going on there. There's a big race meeting coming up. Is it next week? I think, Katie, too. Yeah, you'll go there. Good at Brad Steele, Katie. Oh, Queenslander. Chilly in Queensland, 22 degrees. Ray Cahill, Ian Twitch Hewitt, and 4 other people. Brody Albert have joined in as well. And Bradley, I commend you. Well done. When Daniel gets on, we'll talk about a couple of these races that were on in Queensland last weekend. Great racing and terrific. Very, very envious of what you guys have been able to put up there. Hello to you, Scotty Purdon. Scotty always sends me messages and that. I really appreciate it. So hello to you as well, mate. And going from there, and thank you to everyone last week for getting involved with Mark Hughes. It was very positive. I think we've already got 3 or 4 people looking to get involved in our tour. Brad Steele, I wonder what you're doing next August, mate. Whether you want to come across to Wales and Ireland and get involved in the show over there as well. Something going on with my phone. Sorry, I should never play with things, but my phone is actually playing up on me, has been keeping updated. Just a little gremlin in the system. If you're on Loose Lines, or if you are watching, Facebook or YouTube, don't be scared to fire any questions in and get involved in the show. And it's just not keeping up with the live, unfortunately, this. So and help me get involved. Debbie has gone early. Debbie is Daniel's mother. She's gone early and said the star's back. The problem is, Deb, I don't know where he is. He was going to get back in touch with me, but he hasn't yet. And don't worry, there could be a little teething issue or two, but we'll sort that out hopefully as we go along and be able to get it all up and going as well. Clinton McSwain, hello to you. Brad Steele, already mentioned Brad's name a couple of times. He must have logged off and come back in. Through your phone, you can actually see the people who are actually watching. You don't get to see that on your computers and that. So anyone wondering why I'm constantly looking down and going from there. We're going to talk about Leap to Fame. Is he the best horse racing this year? A couple other people I know have just tuned in as well. I've just got to be a bit careful because this one is slightly delayed. Doesn't matter. The comments come through fast and furious. Is he the best horse this year? Of course, Catch a Wave trialled yesterday at Melton, and then there's some disputes over which horse is the best horse in Australasia at the minute, but I think it doesn't really matter when you see what a horse like Leap to Fame is able to do. It was just breathtaking, but I'll be interested in people's feedback. Of course, Captain Ravishing, The Lost Storm, a few of these other horses. Jackie Gibson, hello to you all the way from Young. 6 days is a long time. Michael House, you've missed nothing. You know that. Very clever, Michael House. He gets involved in things very quickly, but we'll get some Kiwi input. I wonder, Michael, if you saw Leap to Fame the other day and what your thoughts were from an astute Kiwi man that's had his hand dabbled with a few very, very good horses and gone from there. But as I said, Daniel will be on with me in a minute. He did say he only wanted a minute or two. That was a little bit away. So anyway, Metro Racing, people's thoughts on the Metro Racing Going back to the country, personally, I'm a little bit frustrated by it. I think small fields this time of year, it's hard to sell an industry back to the country tracks. Plus, the guys at Albion Park in Queensland had a bumper meeting on, and potentially, I think it would have probably looked a little bit better for everyone if there was a metropolitan race meeting running side by side for it. I think it would have been a nice little side night to it. Malcolm, I will definitely get to yours, and thank you very much. You've actually saved me a little issue there. 6 degrees here in New Zealand. Looking forward to being over for the Oaks next weekend. I think the Oaks are on this weekend, Malcolm. This Saturday night. It's the last race at Albion Park, so hopefully that's what you meant. Unless, of course, you're going somewhere else. As always, though, this show can go in any direction. As I said, so the Bendigo last week, crowds, it was a very, very ordinary day here in Victoria. It was a very, very cold winter's day, so to be able to get people from there. Hello to you, Barb. Barb Sedgwick is on there right now. Daniel's told me to go. But to get crowds and get them involved in the industry, at the tracks, it's very, very hard for a lot of these smaller clubs to be able to do that. So I think I wanted to know people's thoughts on that. Clinton McSwain, personally, I believe we don't have a traditional metro meeting in Victoria anymore. Right, Clinton, we get a lot better turnover when we race at Melton on a Saturday night. So it has been said that way. So you can say we don't have one traditionally, but when people, I shouldn't say the mug punter, the average punter goes to the TAB. Oh, I just hung up on him. When they go to the TAB to have a bet. Very good, Malcolm. Thank you. They are traditionally looking for that metropolitan track, and if we don't have a metropolitan track eventually, so be it. But right at the minute, it is Melton, and a lot easier also on participants. Bendigo is cold. Kilmore's going to be very cold as well this week as going forward. Daniel sent me a message to say that he's ready, but for some reason he's not logging on there as we speak. You can hear the ticking. But Malcolm Sinclair rightfully pointed out to me that it's the Pacing Oaks next weekend that he is after. This week is the Trotting Oaks, and it's a good field, albeit 6 horses, but a good quality field. I'm not sure, Daniel can't answer that. I'm not sure what's going on there. No answer. We'll try him one more time, and hopefully he can get it. Daniel, if you're listening, you are on there. Michael House just came in. Go from there. Jamie Lee King, she is on. Jamie Lee King. Oh, there's the Barrostock Dash. Hell of that for a time. 150. We'll get onto that in a little while, Jamie. Don't you worry about that. Plus, you've already had a winner tonight at Bendigo. That'll also be eligible for the Nutrient Race Series as well. Right, I was hoping to have Daniel on FaceTime, but that is just not going to happen because he's now ringing me, but I can't. Something's wrong. I don't know why it's doing that. It was going through the other one. Modern technology. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to do this. This will be so much easier. I hope anyway. Go, don't want that. We'll go this way. Hopefully he can, he'll answer his phone when he gets there. Bang. Hopefully this works. It will work, so it'll be fine. You there, mate?
Yeah, mate.
Very good. We'll just go with the phone call. How's that sound? Be a lot. It's going to be a lot easier because I don't know what's going on. Every now and then things just don't work. But obviously you couldn't answer me and I can't answer you. So modern technology, mate, at its best.
Absolutely brilliant when it works and horrible when it doesn't.
It tends to not a lot for me at the minute. But anyway, that'll be fine. We'll work it. We can work with this. Won't be a problem at all. And we can get plenty of people involved, which we already got heaps of people on. And I want to know who people think are the best horses in Australia. Not even just at the minute. Jack Butler's on, a great Queenslander too, and is having a good run. Jenny Lewis, hello to you, Jenny, and Marnie Field. Plenty of people, but leading into the Eureka. But even take all those things aside, just right at the minute and towards the end of the season, who's the horse that they think will be the horse for 2023, and you see Leap to Fame, what he was able to do the other night, Daniel. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is. It is very exciting, and I just think we probably just need to touch the brakes slightly and not get too over the top with him. He was absolutely brilliant, I have to say, but one sunny day doesn't make a summer, so I just want to he's been brilliant as a young horse, and hopefully he will go on to dominate as an open class horse, but just want to see him go probably over the next sort of 6 to 12 months and sort of see where he's at that point. But at this stage, he's certainly on the right trajectory to be something very special.
Jamie Lee King, she's up and about, mate. Not only did she set the 150 the other day in the Barrow-Stock Dash, and she's won the first race, she's chimed in, and rightfully so. Act Now. Is he a horse that we forget about? I mean, a lot of people carry on about these horses. This was the idea of the whole subject, was to get horses going out there. Debbie's put back in Debbie Hibberd. This is Malcolm.
Yeah.
I gather that is Havastis Phoenix. Is that his stable name?
Yeah, it's he's still in the paddock at the moment. He's nothing major or anything like that, but just an untimely issue that was picked up. We just need to give him time, and that's what we're doing. And hopefully he comes back as good as his stablemate and fellow owned horse. Unfortunately, we're not in him, but hopefully we get ours to come back just as good.
We've got Grant Campbell watching, which is good, and Matty Cooper from Tassie, I believe. What a race of Eureka will be. We will find the best horse. Cannot wait. I don't know necessarily if we do find the best horse then, because it's one race. Michael House's comments here are really good, Daniel. Australia is itching to create a horse good enough to beat New Zealand horses everywhere, every big race. Leap to Fame will win his share, but will Queensland do what Victoria did to Captain Ravishing? The media lives in the now. Racehorses live by the sword. And I think what Michael's trying to get out there is that basically, test of time. Horses that he's had a great association with. I am going to do a chat with him about horses like Sundon and things like that. Like perhaps we do go too early, and that's what Brad Steele's put in there. What does Leap to Fame have to do to have true believers? But maybe what Michael's saying is true, that we perhaps just need to just wait and sit back and enjoy all of these horses. Act Nows. We'll get on to the trotters and that in a second, but we'll get on to a few of these others as well. It's maybe we just have to be a bit patient, mate.
That's what I say. You just got to tap the brakes. Just come up for air. Just enjoy what's happened and transpired already, and what he's been able to achieve. And I still think that his win in the Derby down here at Melton was probably one of the best runs I've ever seen, particularly by a 3-year-old.
A training performance too.
Training performance too. Yeah. And I just think that. The media and a lot of people got hyped up with Captain Ravishing, and he was, absolutely, he was. He showed signs of something that we hadn't seen for some time, if ever. But we just, we're so desperate to have a cult figure that we just latch on to horses that perform well, and do have a good period of racing, but whether that's the right thing in terms of longevity, well, I'm not here to judge, but I just think we need to enjoy what he's doing at the moment, and just enjoy the ride with him, and hopefully he does takes us on a very good journey.
Steve Salter, or Pogger as he's more affectionately known, he's on. I'm sure he's going to say raw for Roscoe, and rightfully so. And that is the one thing about it. Sometimes the best horse isn't necessarily the best horse to everyone else, as it can be a horse that they have. Jeff Dixon, Leap to Fame is sound and a very good horse. It's a pity particular
Petrarca.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot. That's blasphemy for getting that name wrong. Is that how it works, Daniel?
Yeah, well, I'm a Melbourne supporter, so you can't get it wrong.
Michael House, we got our cult figure. Paul Campbell. Harness Racing's Charlie Manson. Thank you very much, Michael. Hopefully that means I'm still invited to his party through the yearling sales, but we'll worry about that at a later date. I do enjoy Michael's banter. I will say, anyone that hasn't seen it, here is the last 400 metres of Leap to Fame, but you do have to watch the entire race, don't you, to be able to actually enjoy or understand what everyone's talking about and why everyone is getting up and about and so excited, Daniel.
Yeah, you do, and I mean, he's, as you can see from the vision, he's run a 54.4 middle half. I mean, that's just ridiculous speed, particularly over the 2100, but the fact that he drew 7, he drew outside the front, there was a lot of speed underneath him, and, you know, eventually to sort of get up front and lead and get to the front and just run away and then throw a 26.9, 152.1. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's mind-bogglingly quick, and he for me probably just seems a little bit different to all the other ones that we've sort of had come and go in the last little while. And I know there was a message there about him being sound and so forth, and that's probably true, but he just seems like a tank. Like, he just seems to cover the ground so well and just seems to do it so effortlessly. So, we can only hope that he continues on this path, and he races not just in Queensland, but he races all across the country as well. So everyone gets an opportunity to see him run.
Yep, and this platform is for people to have their say. Jeffrey Dixon, he's going to get his comments curbed because he's actually a D supporter as well. So I'll have to curb half of his comments going forward, Daniel, but that's okay. The Blue Baggers, we're back up and going. Grant Campbell, great Blue Bagger. Don't you worry about that. I might know that one. Leap to Fame, versatility and manners will carry him a lot further than some of his rivals. Hats off and to the job Grant Dixon has done and continues to do. We can cool our jets all we like, but times don't lie. He's a superstar. Absolutely. Bernie Ring, great Tasmanian. Blasphemy there. Queenslander. I'm getting in a lot of trouble with where people come from.
You're dead. You're gone. Yeah.
Okay, he's actually the GM at Redcliffe. We've got all of Queensland on. They say about how great the weather is, but they must be all sitting inside watching Facebook at the minute, Daniel. It's in Victoria, we know why we're doing it, but you reckon in Queensland they'll be getting out and about and enjoying it. One thing about what Grant just said then is his manners will carry him a long way. I went back and had a look at his record. He galloped, I think, 2 out of his first 5 starts, which is scary to believe. Like, for the way he paces and covers the ground, he obviously, I think it was actually his first race start. He definitely had a bit of a skitch in his action, or a kink in his armour, if you like, Daniel, which is surprising when you see how effortlessly he does the job.
Yeah, well, it was a 2-year-old. It was back on the 27th of March, 21. He was, broke last chance race, truly. Got beat 17 metres. He was $26. He was $26 in his first start in a race, which is a bit hard to believe. Danger Zone was the horse that won it for Jack Butler and Brendan Barnes. So,
and he went around the other night. So I mean, those horses are carrying their form through, and there's some good names in against the horses that beat him, and he's beaten as well. So, he just keeps continuing to get better and better, which is a really, really exciting. Darren McCall, another Queenslander there. I might have to throw out some Queensland advertising or something else like that for the Creek or Breakfast Creek. Actually, Daniel, that's what we should be doing, because we probably should need a flight to Queensland for the Breakfast Creek, shouldn't we?
Well, I needed to be up there last week or the week before with all the greyhound races on there, so it would have been perfect to be up there, and even on Saturday night as well. So would have been fun.
Cameron Grant, he got Postman Pat beat. He thinks I didn't know he was on, and he rings me. Peter McMullen, mate, they're all here. The Queenslanders are coming out in their droves. Hello to you.
They've got a good horse, that's why. They just want to let everybody know they've got a good horse.
Pete, of course, with Somerset Farms above my head there, next to Noel Ridge too. So anyone that didn't tune in to trotting, I'll go that way so I can talk into the microphone. But Noel Ridge's funeral was yesterday, and I I just thought I'll put him up there and let him ride shotgun because he always kept an eye on me, made sure I was on the straight and narrow. So I think I better off having him up there too. So a huge gathering, I must say, Daniel, massive gathering, and Lockie McIntosh done a great job at that occasion. So I don't know if you had a lot to do with Noel, but terrific man.
No, I didn't have a great deal, but I obviously saw a lot of the posts that across the journey with all of the memorabilia and so forth that he had. So it was that sort of work. I mean, it's a thankless task at times, but the people that do it love it, and then as a result of the work that they do, it keeps that information in forever. Yep. So it's never likely to ever get lost. It's always going to be there, and those sort of people that look after those sort of the history of anything. It doesn't matter if it's harness racing, any sport, whatever it is. They're very hard to come by, and he was very dedicated to his craft. That's for sure.
Michelle Arnott is in Queensland because Rocking With Attitude, and David Miles now is watching. I don't know what's going on with the weather up there. I might bring Milesy in a minute to see how Rocking With Attitude. We might do that, Daniel.
Tropical cyclone or something, keeping them all in.
Must be. I don't know either. That the weather's too warm and they've gone into cool down. Maybe that's what it is. Milesy, give me a thumbs up if you're on this feed. Don't send it to me via text. If you're happy for me to give you a call, and I'll try and do something very, very different if I did that, Daniel. But that's okay. Yeah, well, he's just answered it, so I don't care. I'll ring him in a sec. We'll get him on. We'll talk the trotters in a sec. And now Darren Garrard's came in. Darren Garrard, I might need some sponsorship. He's the man everyone goes. So give me a sec, Miles, and we'll get to you. Leap to Fame is the best horse I've seen since Lazarus. All horses get beat, but if he stays healthy and sound, they won't beat him too often. And I think Darren gets back to that same Michael House comment, doesn't it? And Grant, really, as well. And he's an exceptional horse going through there. Michelle's actually home. She's cold and in Melton, so yeah, she's not happy, but that's okay. Anthony Portelli, great race horses, race for seasons on end. Look at the greats like Popular Arm, Gammalite, Westburn Grant, Chokin, just to name a few. The only thing I will say to that, Anth, is times have changed because they run such brutal times now. But I hope that Leap to Fame, Catch a Wave, Captain Ravishing, Act Now. I hope all these horses continue to race for long periods of time.
I hope we get to see most of them race in the Eureka. I mean, that's just, to me, would probably satisfy a lot of people's thirst, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. If we can get all those absolute elite 4-year-olds that we've got at the moment in the one place at the one time, it might be the catalyst for something a bit bigger for the sport going forward.
The Kiwis are on. Diane Kirkwood and Dylan Ferguson have joined in, and Dylan's going to be over here later in the year, I think. Anyway, I hope so, for the Victorian Trotters Derby on Redwood Carnival. I forgot the name of his horse. Dylan, tell me the name of your horse. It's got love in it. He's by What the Hill. Anyway, old age is one of those good things. We forget, it wasn't that long ago, a horse called Rock and Roll Do went to New Zealand and was one of the favourites to win the New Zealand Cup. How quickly we forget about a horse like him. And I noticed Mick Stanley put a cheeky little tweet out the other day looking to have a trial at Geelong potentially, and his spot's going, I think, is what he said, more or less saying, don't forget me.
And I think we're foolish to do that because if he finds his right sort of form, gets in the zone, he can be very, very hard to beat no matter what race he's in. So he would certainly add a bit of zest to any race that he contests going forward.
While we're talking about the best horses, and we've got the Queenslanders going on as well, I'm actually going to throw this video up because we will get Milesy on after this, if you like, Daniel. But that's the wrong. Yeah, it is the wrong one because I hit the wrong part. The Great Square, what a race it was. How exciting is this horse, London to a Brick? But how exciting is this just for trotting, full stop? We're talking about all these other great paces, and the depth in these trotters is equal, if not potentially better, I reckon, Daniel, for fast class going forward.
I mean, this is a really, really good concept. Like, it's a 3 and 4 year old, preferential draw to the 3-year-olds, and obviously a 3-year-old won. And I'm watching the replay here, and I'm thinking, RC's just going to win. He's going to win. He's going to win. He's not going to win. He's not going to win. Look, it was just, it was a great race. They've gone ridiculously quick time. London to a Brick was a superb run, a superb drive to get the victory. RC Phoenix was just ridiculously good. Like, he's gone to another level since he's come back as a 4-year-old. Hopefully our bloke does the same thing, touch wood. But rocking with attitude. She brave to be out in front, trying to lead all the way in a race like that. She's done a great job to run fourth, and if she's going to have, you would think, the 4-year-old mares races at her mercy, you would think, this year as well. So it's a great concept, really good money. I hope it continues going forward, and I think that there's the opportunity for other jurisdictions to introduce a very similar race, because I think from a 4-year-old perspective, it's probably a 4-year-old trotting perspective, it's probably one of the grades that probably doesn't have as many good races for horses to run in, aside from the futurity ones.
Malcolm Sinclair just said there by Better's Delight too. He's actually the Golden Cross, Malcolm. He's by Better's Delight out of the Christian Cullen mare, to really highlight it. The funny part, Daniel, just quickly on that, did my trotting show last night. There was 2 Better's Delight trotters win for the week. The other was at Menangle on Tuesday. I can't think of the horse's name. No, it wasn't at Menangle. Anyway, I don't know where it was. But he was a Better's Delight out of a Christian Cullen mare as well, the old Golden Cross. So going from there. The beauty of that is Michelle Arnett times in there with My Girl and Stacey Towers, as well with RC Phoenix was brave in defeat. All of them were. You had 2 3-year-olds boys win it. You had a 4-year-old mare run third, a 3-year-old trotter fourth, and then another 3-year-old encouraged stride running fifth. Just those ages and what those horses are going to go on from there. Grant's written Art Major mare.
More information, please.
Yeah, because London to a Brick is definitely out of a Christian Cullen mare, Granny. So, Grant might have half heard us. We might have been he might have gone on to Leap to Fame, I reckon. Because I think Leap to Fame is definitely out of he's a Better's Delight. So yeah, so one's out of, or maybe that's what he's saying. One's one of these great crosses, because we're actually talking about those today. Blanche Poole is there as well, watching Jan Stewart. Tell you what we'll do. We'll get Milesy on, because he'll be sitting there, he'll be twiddling his thumbs, he'll be like making sure no one rings him, because he's not shy of the media. Have you ever noticed that, Daniel?
I didn't think he knew what shy meant.
We fit him well here, so it is all good. We'll just see if he does answer that. He may not answer. He is going to answer. David, hello to you.
I'm very shy, Paul. You should know that.
He was watching us too, Daniel.
Yeah. Can't get away with anything.
No, just so there's a couple of people, because Matthew Cooper as well has got in there. They're correcting me saying that Leap to Fame is out of an Art Major mare. What I was actually highlighting was London to a Brick being the Golden Cross, Milesy, the Better's Delight out of a Christian Cullen. You would have been sad, I suppose, when you found out he couldn't pace, but I reckon they would have been pretty happy on Saturday night. We'll get on to you in a minute, but just a great story, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, unbelievable story, and super well trained by Jimmy Rattray. He's looked after him fantastically well. He sort of kept him out of a lot of trouble at Menangle, and I was a little bit doubtful on how he'd handle the 1,000-metre track and the bigger field. He'd sort of been racing in small fields. The only big field he'd run in was the Derby, where he made a break, where he probably got a little bit of pressure from his outside going to the first furlong. Jimmy's done a super job, and I did say to somebody in an article leading up to the race, well, we don't really know how good he is, and he turns out he is a superstar. He is a very, very good horse.
Yeah, he is. interesting little one, Dave. Michael House, he's at the Lagoon, mate. Darren Garrard will get to you in 2 secs. Miles, you might know this one a little bit better, but I saw it the other day. I just don't know where I saw it. I'm just trying to... I'll go to the copy and paste. King's Aim may have it, and just see. But he's now the second leading Tasmanian of all time for Group 1 wins, and I think he's behind his uncle Wayne. I think he went past his father the other day. And he's only 2 off it. For a young man, that's a huge thing for Tasmanian racing, full stop, isn't it?
Oh, he's royally bred, Jimmy. The Rattray family have been doing a great job down there and probably underrated to us mainlanders for a long, long time. And, you know, Barry's been an icon of the sport and all the Rattray family, really. Gareth represented the country in a World Drivers' Championship. So, Jimmy's done a fantastic job. He managed Bowtide to perfection. I thought he got the most out of him. And you know, it's scary going forward because I still think there's improvement in London to a brick, and it's probably scary going forward how good he could be.
He is indeed. Stacey Towers is, maybe I said a young David Miles. I'm not sure what I called young, and she's got a giggling face. I suspect it's about, it might be about Jimmy Rattray. That might
he's 37. I just looked at it. He's 37.
Hey, Daniel, that's young for me. I'm happy with that, Milesy. I reckon you can say the same thing. You won't say anything back to that, Milesy, will you?
No, guaranteed. I'll go on with that. I'll roll with those punches.
Unfortunately, I can't get this article up. I am trying. It just won't come up because I've got everything going. Anyone that watches this show enough knows that I do have internet troubles. I'll just clarify it. But I just think it's a great story. And these are the things we need to promote. That's what I like to do. Right. Firstly, Milesy, congratulations. You would have been wrapped with the mare. I know you didn't go up there to run third, but a 3-year-old filly taking on the older horses, albeit you were still beaten by the 3-year-olds. But, I mean, you take on the older horses, you know, it's a big ask. You must have been wrapped with her.
Oh, you know, we were stoked. You know, I think I probably came in a little bit underdone to where I thought the mare was at. She handled the travel so much better than I expected her to. You know, that's just trial and error with travelling these horses, but I'm not making any excuses. RC Phoenix was huge. Chris set him a task and was really up to it. And Jimmy's horse was just fantastic. You know, we couldn't be proud of our filly. She copped a bit of pressure for the first time in her life. She ran a PB. She ran half a second quicker than she'd ever gone. So, you know, in a perfect world, we would have probably loved to have seen the Oaks and the Derby leading up to the Great Square, but we've got a chance to redeem ourselves this weekend in the Oaks.
Yep, and that's probably food for thought for Queensland. Darren Garrard rocking with attitude. Her run was brave. She'll be hard to beat Saturday night, but she can come back next year as well. And that's, I would imagine, you know, both you and her, Dave, would be a lot better for the trip.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, she's actually really thrived and done super well, and she blew up pretty big after the race and had a massive blow. And you know, I think you know, she'd gone 57.9 or something at Melton as a late 2-year-old, and then went 57.5 or a little bit quicker than that on Saturday night. But you know, I think there's a little bit of improvement in her, but probably not enough to beat those two on Saturday night. That's for sure.
Yep. Look, yeah, but at the end of the day, it must have been great to be a part of it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, it was very interesting walking around the stables because you just had the best of the best everywhere. Every time you walked around a corner, there was somebody willing to greet you and shake your hand and say hello, and they had their best horses there, and it was a privilege to be a part of. You know, it would have been nice to come away with a winner, but you know, as you say, it's going to be a fantastic carnival, and going forward with the change of dates that the other eastern states have made, Queensland have really got the opportunity to make this an outstanding. And at the moment, it's 4 to 5 weeks, but it could be a couple of months. And you know, when they get this new complex up and running, if they've got stabling enclosures, I'll tell you, there will be a influx of interstate trainers coming up here to train in this terrible weather, Paul.
I think there should be a social media man up there. I think the show could have been live up there every third night. I don't know if he's still on or not, because that was why the audio came through. I just realised I can't have the show on and talk to you, Milesy, at the same time, which is a frustration for me. I like to be able to see who's watching, but I can't do that. But I'll behave myself while we've got you on. Michelle, so people are only half hearing us tonight, Daniel. Michelle Arnett says Milesy isn't 37 or young. I don't think, Dave, at any point in time you did say that. We were actually saying that 37 is young. Is that that's what we were saying? Is that true?
Well, I'll tell you, Michelle wants to be careful because I've still got to drive her horse Saturday night. So
we will get onto that in a minute. It's Neville Webley's Group 1s, and both Brooke Hammond and Maddie Cooper are both telling me, one off YouTube and one off Facebook, are saying that he's one behind. So yeah, I think that's a huge effort. So well done to him. It was written by John Dunn, and it's on Harness Link. Anyone that wants to actually go and see it. Daniel, did you have a question for Milesy?
I just, obviously she's pulled up well enough to be, really competitive in the Oaks on Saturday night. I mean, you've got the plum draw there again. I mean, looking to just sort of hopefully just get to the front and control things again.
Yeah, Dan. Yeah, when you're $1.08 that I've seen on the tote today, I don't know whether it puts more pressure or not, but nice that people think of it that way, and the bookies think of it that way. But if she does everything right, and we can keep her fit and healthy, this week should work out well for us. And I think Jimmy's taken his horse home, so I'm not sure if he's staying up for the Derby or coming back for the Derby. But if he doesn't, we're sort of hoping the week after we might be in the same sort of scenario, and try to keep it to our own age, as we saw from last week. It's very, very hard to beat those older horses.
Dave, just quickly on that field though, like two of those horses went around in the Great Square on Saturday night, Kintario and I'm a Gypsy Queen. One definitely galloped. I don't know if Kintario or Kenny Taro did gallop. It just gave ground. Oh no, I'm wrong, sorry. The other horse didn't. Sorry, it was a 3 and 4 year old the week before. So, yeah, but the fact that they were selected into those field, or that one filly was selected in the field, it's a good. It's not a walkover, that's for sure.
No, exactly. No, you don't expect it at this level. But I suppose Queensland's sort of a little bit of a fledgling state when it comes to the trotters. And in saying that, they sent some rippers down last year. Susan is her name, is a ripping Queensland trotter that made her way to Melbourne and won a Group 1. And I'll be late. Did a great job in the Derby, running fourth last year behind Cravasti. Also, Pete McMullen and Chantel Turpin have really done a great job invigorating the trotters up here. And they will just continue to get better. And as we've seen, not only in Victoria but Australia-wide, the trotters do really seem to be kicking goals and on an upward spiral. So if this state can continue to grow that side of the sport, I think it's a bonus for everybody.
Just on that, Chantel and Pete, they sent one around. They love these names. We will see how we go. All one word. Good luck to people when they first look at that. That is a Sebastian K at a Penny Monster, a Sky Valley horse. Set a track record from the stand, trotting 2 minutes from the stand yesterday at Albion Park. Like, they fly.
I saw a trotter at Marburg on Sunday go 2-1 for, I think, the 2200 stand on a 700 metre track. Bo Tyndale trotter called Made a Killing, and just flew. Absolutely went fantastic through. I think Graham Dwyer trained the horse.
Yes.
But they're really hooking into it. The times are good up here. Obviously, the better weather, and there wasn't a breath of wind at Marburg on Sunday, which made it quick. And I think that definitely helps. But I think going forward, there's going to be trotting trainers target these races and come up for carnivals and get things ready. Even if they can get some sales races going ahead, that'll boost it even more.
There is an announcement of those, Daniel. I'll get to those. David. Daniel, I just was looking at Marburg. I was wondering what David Miles was doing there. He snuck a sneaky little one in. He actually won the second race up there. Did you see that at all?
I didn't see that at all. I'm just looking at the result as I speak. So 3-year-old filly goes 2 3.4, and yeah, just looking at that first race, I get 2 1.4 from the trot, from the stand around Marburg. I mean, that's like going around it actually driving the mobile, not the horse.
Yeah, he scooted around the bends pretty quick. Then he was airborne. So now we were lucky enough a couple of years ago, Paulie, to win some service fees that Egmont Park donated for some Mares Series races down in Victoria. And we finished up with a couple of Hurricane King Coles, one of them being the one that won on Sunday. And for those Victorians, you're going to cry at the sound of this, because for winning that event on Sunday at Marburg, the owner pocketed $18,700.
Wow.
Yeah.
How you going there, Daniel? You're right there, mate?
And only got 3,700 for actually winning the race.
Yep, she got a $14,000 bonus. That's the Q-bred bonus, and she got a $1,000 bonus for being a 3-year-old winning an Open Maiden.
Wow.
That filly.
What are we doing wrong?
That filly.
I devoted a show to that a couple of weeks ago, Daniel. We're not going there. Keep going. Sorry, Milesy.
The same filly next year is eligible for a $7,000 bonus as her 4-year-old win, and then as a 5-year-old, she's eligible for another $3,000 bonus. So $24,000 in bonuses in total, and for every win she wins this year as a 3-year-old, she will get $1,000 on top of the prize money.
If she stays in Queensland?
If she stays in Queensland, yes. Unfortunately, she was dual bred, and I was supposed to win a race with her in Victoria before bringing her up, and couldn't quite pinch one. So she's still got a $7,000 Vic bred bonus in her as well. So we are planning to try and sell her while we're up here. But if she doesn't, she can come home and try and pinch a $7,000 Vic bred bonus.
Stacey Towers not having you, mate. She's put 4 crying faces and told you to stop it. And I think there's a few other people probably saying the same. Even Daniel's gone quiet at the other end of the phone.
It's a lot of money, and it just goes to show how Queensland are really kicking goals. They've really invested hard in that area, and it's all for the participants' benefit, and it's super. Like, you look at what you can earn from just winning one race. I mean, it just makes sense to if you're up there, to breed and to race. Yep,
absolutely. And I think what they're doing is terrific, Miles. I would imagine off track, Milesy, and away from the tracks too, it'd be a very well run event.
Oh, it was a ripping day. It was like going, no denigration here, but it was like going back 20 years and going to Board or Wedderburn when they had jumping castles and
they had jumping castles at Boort last year, mate.
Yeah, well, maybe I didn't quite make it there fully, but there was a crowd there of maybe 1,500 people. They had market stalls. The food was amazing, and the atmosphere was great. And yeah, it was a typical country track, and the racing was willing but safe. The service on the track was really, really good, and we were made feel super welcome. And it was going back to the grassroots of trotting, which, as we all know, is where it all began.
No, absolutely. Queensland have felt like us for a long time. This is Stacey Towers, so good on them, and absolutely, Stacey, totally agree with that. I think that's exactly right. No point us saying what are we doing wrong and all the rest. We've got to pull our socks up and change the way we run our business. But what they are doing is terrific. And then the number one Uber driver in Tasmania, Brooke Hammond, actually says there that Tassie is holding its own with the 2 and 3-year-old paces. $19,000 first win for any horse that wins in Tassie. So that's pretty mouth-watering as well, Milesy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some of these states are really leaving Victoria behind, I think. But it's the way of the industry, and you've got to try and keep horses in the game and owners in the game, if they can get that much money for their first win, they will reinvest. That's for sure.
Matty Cooper said that exact same thing on the YouTube feed. That's how you keep beaters in the game. Fantastic bonuses and well done. Brookie's booked out for months in advance now. It's okay. I'm only on 10%. Brooke too. Don't worry about that. I trust your charge, Hughesy. Fortune. Milesy, I will let you go. He's Charlie's Angel. Pretty tough race. 152 chasing Leap to Fame.
I've said this to a couple of people I've spoken to. I've never been in a race where everyone was off the bottle at the 1200, and actually slipped my mind there at one point. I went, have I mistaken my laps here? Because they are just absolutely flying. We turned into the front straight with a lap to go, and I went, oh, this isn't the finish, because they were off the charts going that fast. Yeah. And he just cruised into it and cruised past them, and then Grant didn't even tap the brakes, and then just as we were all going flat out, he ran away faster. It was scary. He was scary good, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic the next couple of months having all these good horses clash. I as a participant and who is not involved, I'm absolutely looking forward to it. You know, whether it's the Eureka or the lead-up races or the Interdoms, we could be in for some absolutely huge racing. And then when these 4-year-olds have to take on Swayze, who was huge on Saturday night, he was
brother,
fantastic.
full brother. He's a
half brother. That I think that mare might go okay. Yep. She might leave one or two. So it just really augurs well, and you know, New South Wales with their Eureka and the Interdom in Queensland, the northern states have really got a plethora of races to look forward to, and it'll be exciting times, that's for sure.
Here's one for you, Daniel. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. So Leap to Fame gets all the kudos, and rightfully so. Yet Swayze was the quicker of the two brothers around Albion Park after his slashing win on that Tuesday 2 weeks ago. They're actually now equal. They've gone the exact same times, a 152 dead, which is amazing and scary about the mare, isn't it, really?
Well, absolutely. I mean, and she was a good race mare as it was. I mean, she won 17 of 51, and I mean, to leave. If all she left was Leap to Fame, she'd be really good. But the fact that she's left another one who has got a ton of potential as well, it's incredible.
Another two, Daniel. Maximus Red actually went okay too. 28 wins, 305,000. No, you're right. I was looking it up. I cheated. I got the computer in front of me.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get there too, but you beat me to it.
It's she's a nice mare, Dave, isn't it?
Oh, you'd like to own her, wouldn't you? You know, it's and I think he was 52,000 at the sales. Leap to Fame, and I had a chance to have a good look at him. Typical Bears Delight, nothing special. He's a plain bay, but he hardly touches the ground. He was outside me on the first corner, and you couldn't hear him. He was, and I never forget the jockey saying that about a horse like Black Caviar. You didn't hear her. She was, even though she was as big as she was, you couldn't hear her. And he was unbelievable outside me. You usually, you know, you see horses hit the ground hard or they get into the track, but he barely touches it, and you know, he's been superbly managed, and no doubt I was a little surprised to see him in this week, to be honest, but I think Grant knows exactly what he's doing, and he's been there before, more as a, you know, behind the scenes with Blacks of Faith, but he knows how to keep these horses at the top of their game.
And Colt 31 and a few of those others as well, like he's always had one. One of the great comments for you boys, when I was at Tamworth, and I tell people this is still, it's ridiculous, but as good a race as I saw last year, and Cam Bray will agree with me, and it was a $9,000 or $10,000 Breeders' Challenge where he won. He sat outside Teddy Disco, but Tim's a Trooper sat on his back and got beat 10 metres. And Grant said to Robbie Morris afterwards, and this is Robbie's own words, he said, he was a bit plain. Robbie said, you're joking, aren't you? He said, we were going 54 around this. He said, he's gone huge. And like, he's just a ripping horse. Tim's a Trooper. But just, I think Grant probably, he probably doesn't feel how fast that horse is actually going either. Like it's scary what he can do.
Well, I'm staying, Paul, with Sean Grimsey, who trains Teddy Disco, and they obviously that's the horse you spoke about, and he Sean says he's one of the best horses he's ever put a hand on, and that day when they turned for home, he put half a length on him and went, "Oh, I think we might be a chance," and within 3 strides the race was just over. He said, "I actually, the whole time on the way to Tamworth, didn't think we could win. The whole time during the race, didn't think we could win. And just as he kicked turn of home, he said, 'Oh, I think we're a chance.' And then, no, we're no chance."
Sean will attest to this, Daniel. The track, and Dave, the track is it's very open, but the grandstand's a little bit of a coliseum. You're sort of nearly a metre and a half above the track, and you're right hard on it. So we were sort of against the fan, but you're up above it. And I'm sure Sean knows the exact same time. Grant just said, "Come on, mate," and you can actually hear it. And he just lifted his right hand an inch and just said, "Come on, mate." No whip involved, no nothing like that. And that would be that moment when Sean was just so, it was like, "Oh no, we can't win." Like it was just it was incredible. And it was, as I say, a race at Tamworth late September. You wouldn't think would be a highlight of your season, but it definitely was for me. It was just brilliant to watch. What is the rest of the Carnival, Milesy? Are you staying for the Derby?
At this stage, Paul, we'll race this week, and all going well, we'll hang about for the last week, and then we'll head home. On the Sunday or the Monday, which will be very hard to do considering this weather. We've Charlie's Angels is in again this week. Unfortunately, Orchid Stride, she choked down Saturday night, and she hasn't pulled up so great, so she'll be missing for the last 2 weeks. I'll go and tackle Redcliffe tomorrow, Paul. He never had a drive on the Triangle, so we'll go and have a drive there tomorrow and see if we can get a little bit more money.
Can you win? Firstly,
she's drawn 2 in the second line, but we won't be dying wondering. Put it that way, Paulie. We don't come all this way to be unlucky.
Okay, and the best word of advice I was given. What race are you in, Dave? Second race. Yeah, Rosanna.
Race 2 number 8. Yeah,
Rosanna Ruby. Watch the last peg. So on the back straight of that triangle, you can't miss it. You just go straight through it. Dave, thank you. As always, this is On Loose Lines. It can be a very, very random show, and we can do random things, but thank you for joining in. Thank you for promoting the industry as well, David, as well as the Queensland guys up there as well. So, thank you very much, and it's super exciting to watch good quality trot races. And, I mean, you made it a fair income race, and you've probably just had 2 or 3 horses go past you. Obviously, just that little bit better on the night, but I think you should be very proud of your 3-year-old filly, mate, against those older horses. So thank you for joining us, Milesy.
No, thanks, Paulie. Thanks, Dan. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
It was pretty cool, Daniel. Something different that we can do. Unfortunately, what I did realise what I couldn't do, and I better do that right now, is actually watch me feed at the same time because I can't. The audio comes through, but that's okay. Life goes on. So don't forget, if you are watching us and you are watching the feed live, please get involved, because that's what this show's all about, is people getting involved and having a little bit of fun as well. But good to have Miles and get a bit of a feedback, if you like, of what it's all like up there. So Blanche Poole, living in Shepparton from the Otago, I'm tipping she'd be happy to be up in Queensland as well, like if yours, El Morro as well. So that's the worst part, Daniel. The weather just looks spectacular as well, doesn't it?
Extremely jealous. It's been horrible here. I just wish, we haven't had rain, but I just wish it would dry up, because we've still got Lakeview frontage at our place, and it's driving me mad.
Yeah, and I was actually not that far from your Seymour, working in paddocks today with broodmares, and the same thing. It's very, very unpleasantly wet at the minute. It is the weather's a touch better, but it's still not good. And I think it's next week, they said there's a lot more rain coming in again, so we're pretty much over that. That is for sure. Daniel, as always, this show is going to go way over time. It doesn't matter too much because there's not a lot happening in the industry. Taking these metropolitan races to the country this time of year, what's your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, it's probably the quieter time of the year in any case, so It's not when you're competing against football and things like that during winter. It's often hard to get a decent crowd, particularly out there at Melton at the best of times. But I mean, it's a good opportunity for a few of the country clubs to host Saturday night racing, and I think it's a bit of a point of difference, I guess, from sort of turning up at Melton every week, and just sort of breaks it up. And then you sort of, once we get in the next through the next month or so, you're coming into the size and everything like that. So it's not a bad concept. I don't mind it.
Alex Hurley is on. Her trotter went terrific at Melton the other day. Did mention it last night, Alex, but good to have you on. Clinton McSwain and quite a few others. David Shaw, Daniel, I'm not sure if he's related to the Shaw.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? No. I tell you what, talk about dropping the knife in when we're down. New South Wales need a 3-year-old futurity for trotters. Best place to hold it would be Wagga. The amount of Victorian horses that would be going across the border for that, don't disagree. I think it'd be a great place that would get a lot of the people from Sydney down and the Victorians up. So I think it'd be very, very good. But as a proud Victorian, I don't know necessarily how good that would go down, Daniel.
Yeah, it's might be singing the boot in a little bit.
David, we love your idea. We're just proud Victorians, mate. We want to be the home of the trotter and the home of everything. And right at the minute, that's not happening. Jack Butler, not at the minute, mate. I'm not getting up there for the carnival. No, Jack Butler has asked, but Jack's going terrific. It could be scary. We might try and line up a few of the Queenslanders next week. We might have a full-on Queensland show. Daniel, are you back calling dogs next week, or...?
Yeah. Very rare Wednesday off with no dogs at Bendigo this week, so which I didn't mind. It's nice to have a bit of a break up, but back on deck at Bendigo next week. But Sandown tomorrow, Bendigo Friday, and then the Meadows, massive night on Saturday night this week at the Meadows.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll try and get some of these Queenslanders on because obviously they need a bit more love with Jack Butler. Jack's done a great job. He does a good job with all of his trotters, so we might find out a bit more about any team horses he's got in. Matthew Cooper off the YouTube feed, and don't forget you watch it on the YouTube feed. Hit like, hit subscribe. Someone has. I've got another new subscriber because I'm up to 579. I need to get past 1,000. Then they pay me, Daniel, which would be nice. But anyway, story for another day. Have only been in the game for a minute, but the horses and racing at the moment is the best I've seen. The sport is on the up, on the way up. Sorry. And can only get better. And I don't disagree with that. I think when you look at your own backyard, sometimes, Daniel, you get a little bit deflated. But what they're doing up here, David Shaw's even named it. We'll get onto that in a sec. What some of these other states are doing is just terrific. And hopefully we can all get together eventually and have a very, very, very profitable and high-ranking sport, Daniel. David Lawrence has got here, boys division, the Murrumbidgee, girls division, the Darling. He's even got the names of it going.
That's actually very, very clever. That is very clever.
The Darling for the girls. And especially when you know it's named after a river and go from there would be terrific. Right, Anthony Portelli has got another big one in. And Ants doesn't realise I can't read, Daniel. He makes these ones hard for me from time to time.
You don't understand English anyway, so yeah.
I can butcher any language. That's exactly right. All right. Hi, Paul. This is why breeding's going down. For an example, it's Tall Dark Stranger service fee $1,750 with the levy going on top. He goes to $20,000. Tall Dark Stranger New Zealand service fee is $16,000. No cap, no levy. This is why they have to scrap the levy and the cap service on servicing stallions, because the stud farms, not their fault, need to charge higher service fees because they're limited to how many mares for the stallion can breed. All because the Eureka race can only have 10 horses can run. Don't get me wrong, I love harness racing, having a race worth $2 million, but there needs to be another way to funding it. Breeders need to stand together on this, and they definitely are. We know that. Daniel, you and I both see and hear that a lot from a lot of people, but it is a common consensus. Everyone loves the $2 million race, just not how it's been funded, would be fair to say, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's probably the biggest concern in the sport is the breeding aspect of it and the costs and everything like that, and it's not it's an issue that's not going to go away in a hurry. So yeah, it really does need to get sorted out because otherwise it will have an impact on the sport. It might not have an impact immediately, but you're certainly going to feel it in maybe 5 years' time. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the numbers are down, especially here in Victoria, massively down. And we can't afford to have that. We have got some incentives going on. The Heidi George actually kicks off next Tuesday, the 18th of July at Echuca, 26th of July at Swan Hill, and then the final on the 2nd of August at Bendigo. Great day for my birthday, I reckon, the 2nd of August. All birthday presents can be sent to Bendigo. Don't worry about that one bit, Daniel. That is going forward. And while I am doing that, and I reckon I don't think I've put this one in. I better get rid of London to a brick, otherwise I'll be in trouble there. The Nutrien Race Series, the finals will be held at that Bendigo meeting on the 11th of August as well. And just on that, Monday the 24th of July, which is next Monday, I believe, entries open for the Nutrien Equine sales and sales catalogues, and there'll be a lot more coming on that going forward very, very shortly. Also, don't forget my friends at the Safety Specialist, 0400 309 902. That beautiful C there. That is some of the embroidery and the jacket, and the jackets are beautiful and warm. Leonie Collins, hello to you. Daniel, what else have you got, mate? Because you and I can talk forever, and it's just one of those shows we sort of sometimes have a script and it gets thrown out the window. Dave Miles getting involved tonight has probably brought a different slant to the show, but the Greyhounds, they are the Greyhounds. Now, what is going on in the Greyhound world?
Yeah, we've just had the Queensland Carnival, and it has finished up last week with the Brisbane Cup and the Queensland Cup, and I mean, even with the Constellation Series with the trots, I mean the dogs in has basically run alongside of the Harness Carnival, and it's been fantastic. Both carnivals at pretty much the same time, or obviously both at Albion Park predominantly. And yeah, it's been super. Like the Brisbane Cup on Friday night was a sensational race. Postman Pat obviously didn't get the cash, but Elite Machine was brilliant. He's now won two Group 1 Cups. He won the Perth Cup and now a Brisbane Cup, and you'd imagine that he'll be sort of looking at some big races in Melbourne in December. So he was super, and now we moved back to the Meadows on Saturday night with the group heats of the Group 1 Maturity, which is an aged classic. So you've got to be whelped on the first, no earlier than the first 21. So it's for all the younger ones coming through, but it's a cracking series. There's 8 heats, so the 8 heat winners will go through the Group 1 final next Saturday night, and really looking forward to some of the heats there. I mean, it's just super racing. It's going to be awesome. Yeah,
and it is, and I encourage people. You've got to remember we are in a racing environment, and if a dog like Postman Pat, which I was fortunate enough to see when I went to New Zealand, see him first, I actually saw him get beat, funnily enough, when I was over there. The only race I actually physically watched him, I'd seen him before I'd got to New Zealand, and then I get over there and he got beat by the kennel mate in Big Daddy, who has actually come over here and doing an awesome job as well. But if they can't get you excited about racing, those sorts of dogs. What was the dog that won in Queensland? What's his name? Elite Machine.
Yeah, he's
another super exciting dog, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and it's pretty much on the same lines as Leap to Fame. I mean, everybody's been getting on the bandwagon with Leap to Fame. If you thought that was the carry on was big with regards to him, the carry on with Postman Pat is off the charts. Like it is incredible how big this dog has become since coming across from New Zealand. He won, I think he won 16 of 19 or something like that before he came across. I got to call him at winning a race at Bendigo about 3 starts into his Australian trip. He was awesome that day. He is a super dog, and he's just proving so popular, whether it's the name whether it's the fact that he's from New Zealand and we don't get too many of them over here. The carry on with him and the following of him along the same lines as Leap to Fame is ridiculous, and it's exactly what both codes need. They need someone like that to draw attention, and it's just been amazing to watch. And hopefully he'll come back to Victoria now, and he'll be set for some big races at the back end of the year. I've got no doubt someone will have probably already tried to snap him up for the Phoenix. I know that the slots for the Phoenix have just been opened up, so there'll be a lot of people looking to get a slot and then be able to try and make a deal with Postman Pat, because he's going to be highly sought after in the Phoenix.
Daniel, you talk about names and exciting greyhounds and that. One you did call, having his first start for as a party, I forgot his first name, but Tim Zoo.
Yep.
Did he race at Bendigo last Friday night?
Yeah, he's had 2 starts. He won his first start he had his first start in a race at Bendigo in a heat of the maiden series, and he ran 0.3 of a second off the track record, which is basically like 3 lengths. He's basically run about 3 lengths off the track record. So he and then he came out and won the final of that maiden series at his second start. As I've sort of said a couple of times on air, if you're ever going to name a dog or a horse after someone famous, and you're not going to get much more well known than Tim Zoon as far as a box is concerned. I mean, you have to have serious cannolis to be able to do it, and they picked the right one. And I think from what he showed in his first 2 starts, he's another one like Postman Pat that's going to attract a following, a cult following, and who knows what level he might get to as well.
Yeah, Mum's got on there then with Pickled Pepper, and that's one thing I do love about you, Daniel. With what you're doing, I would have you calling more trot races. That ain't my decision, but what I would say that the passion and that you put in, that first call, I didn't hear. I should have been there, and we're going to touch on that very quickly for the Bendigo Greyhound Club in a minute. Should have been there at Bendigo the other night, but that heat winner Tim Zoo, I was like, well, I've got to follow this dog, and rightfully so. Mum's put in there Pickled Pepper, Debbie Hibberd, shouldn't say Mum, but it's okay. As far as On Loose Lines go, she can be officially there as well. She'll have to be Mum too, because sometimes my mum chimes in as well. And that's okay. We know our mums on the show. We know whatever we like, because that's what it's about. But your call of Pickled Pepper, now I highlighted it. I couldn't get you on that night, but the passion, but that was not only passion, that was a bit of fun too, mate.
Yeah, it was, and I actually had a flying trip home to Donald at the start of the week, and she actually asked me this. She said, "Why and how did you come up with that?" And I said to her, honestly, I only came up with it like about 2 minutes before the race. I thought, because I was reading through obviously doing the name, learning the names and so forth, and saw that it was actually called Pickled Piper was its name. And I thought, well, that's a tongue twister, and there's got to be a play on words that I can sort of think of, and then I've obviously come up with, and I won. I had to win. For it to work, it had to win. And, of course, it came out and won. And I'd said that Pickled Piper puts profits in punters' pockets. Yeah. So,
Can you actually say Peter Piper? Can you do the Peter Piper pick of?
No, I can't. No.
Yeah, I can't either. It was funny, because as you were saying that, I'm thinking, did I read that wrong? Because I said reading's not my strong point, but Mum did write Pickled Pepper. She may not have meant to, because spell check comes in and fixes things up. But yeah, so I was happy. I was happy with that. For last Friday night, beanies for brain cancer, and a lot more people get affected by brain cancer than we would like to think of. Daniel, the Mark Hughes Foundation, Bendigo had a huge night, fully packed out crowd. But people should, if they want to, and it's pretty easy to buy a beanie this time of year, get in touch with the Bendigo Greyhounds or GRV to get some of these beanies to donate for the Mark Hughes Foundation for beanies for brain cancer.
Yeah, well, I bought one on Friday night. I went downstairs and actually grabbed one, and they're absolutely brilliant. They're black and white. So obviously, if you're not Collingwood supporter, you're going to hate it. But it's not like that. It's in a very very nice design and very warm, and well worth the purchase. But it was a massive night down there. I didn't get downstairs too much, but they're completely sold out downstairs, the function area. They've really done a super job with this event. They don't have a ridiculous amount of events at the club throughout the season, but when they do have them, they go all in on them and make them work. And this one is really well done. And they would have raised a fair bit of coin for the foundation as well.
No, absolutely. I think it. As you said, they do things terrific. Gone from Troy Harley now to Charlton Hindle, and Charlton does a great job. Get in touch with them for anything. Daniel, I think I highlighted this before you came on because Jamie Lee King was on. She actually won the first race. I'm actually going to have a quick look at some of the first races. I don't know if you saw my Barrostock Dash with Jamie Lee King. I can't find it. 150, her mile rate equated to. How's that? That is just ridiculous. 2 minutes and 27 seconds to harness up a horse. That's brilliant.
That deserves a swab.
Don't worry. She'd had a couple of practice. She had a couple of practice runs.
Ridiculously quick. That's ridiculously quick, and that's ridiculously impressive.
I think, from all accounts, she'd done a elite lop. She might have had 1 or 2 races already before we got there. And I might have been half an hour late, which is unusual for me to be running late, but I believe she might have even gone for another one when she found out I was going to be late, just to make sure. So she was definitely on the ball to try and pick up the 5 bags of Racing to Win, kindly donated by the team at Barrostock. Great supporters of mine. I've actually got the hat. I haven't changed the hat tonight. I actually haven't had my hat man on. Joe Pace, he might be racing at Bendigo, I don't know. But I'm going tomorrow. Now, a little bit of trash talk has happened already. I'm going to the Sanderson kids, Abby and Ryan, and I asked Abs what her confidence level was like. In her words, she said, I'm starting from barrier 1 over the mile, and Ryan's starting from 13, and that's as close as he's going to get to me. So the trash talk has started pretty early. The young girl's got, she's happy. I said, do you think you can beat Jamie Lee? She said, I don't care as long as I beat Ryan. So a little bit of winter fun for him, Daniel.
It's going to be a fair contest, and there's a lot of bragging rights up for grabs there. It's not about having the quickest time. It's all about beating the other one. So it's going to. There could be some dirty looks across the dinner table for a while going forward.
I've got enough microphones. I don't know why I haven't done it before. I actually worked out how I can do it.
You'll have to be on 7-second delay.
I'm going to mic them up. It's recorded, but I'm going to mic both of them up. So they can, anything they say we will be capturing, and hopefully they don't swear, and we'll go from there. Brad Steele's come back in. He left me for a while. I've gave this big push that I'm going to do a Queensland show potentially next week, unless something else pops up between now and then, because we've had quite a few of the Queenslanders watching and getting involved, and then D-Miles on, so don't worry about that, Brad. Just quickly, Daniel, going through, these are actually the Bathurst results, but the handsome one by Caribbean Blaster. This horse here, some people just don't look after race callers. Ulaanbaatar, I'll go with, at Bathurst, and it won the Go the Blues pace. So Jeffrey Dixon, the reason you're not getting a hat is exactly that, but the Ulaanbaatars, well done to them. David Mikulev, he's watching. He actually's had a double tonight because he also won the first at Bendigo. Ibn Nadia, fair dinkum by Captain Treacherous, won the Cobbity Equine race number 3. Modern Power, For a Reason by Modern Art for Nathan Turnbull, and Phase of Glory by the Lincoln Royale or Sir Lincoln, depending on which side of the ditch you're from, has taken out Nathan Turnbull. He's had a double, and then Amanda Turnbull's Scarlet May by Sweet Lou, one of the Woodlands horses, is actually taken out race number 6. I don't know. Have you got the Bendigo results? Well, we got some bloke watching who I can't pronounce his name.
I got Bendigo up. Draw a Dream won the first. He's watching out of Illustrator. Emma Stewart Karamani 158.3 beat the Jeff Webster pair into second and third. Perfect Peak won the trot for Greg and Steve Light. It was a $34 chance. The 4-year-old by Pete Dan K. 22.4 the rate, beating Lindy Grace and Major Max. Celebrity Royal won the third. Emma Stewart Zach Chapman, $1.30 favourite. Sweet Lou out of our Celebrity 153.1. For the 3-year-old maiden, beat Good Day for Mark Thompson, Ellen Tormey, and then it was Daylight to the rest. Good Days by Guaranteed out of Secret Bonus.
I tell you what, he's done a huge job with those horses, Mark Thompson. You have a look at Good Day's record up. No, it's not that horse. He had another one the other day. Sorry, Brad Steele, you're 100% right. We will definitely get to... I think it had 36 starts or something and hadn't won a race, and Tomo got it to win a race. It was a couple of weeks ago at Bendigo. So
LOIT.
Yeah, and it was his first start for him. He's got an affinity with those. Daniel, the reason I did the big draw in, and the reason I'm not getting to you just yet, Brad Steele, Brad would never have been introduced to Katrina Fitzpatrick. She's won another race, Daniel.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't hear her. I mean, you would have probably, surely you would have heard her from.
No, I thought it was an earthquake, so I gave it that was her running up and down and jumping and carrying on. And she's not a big girl either. She wouldn't weigh 50 kilos, so don't worry. I'm not being disrespectful. Anyone that doesn't know Katrina, but yeah, there would have been some fair scenes there at Bendigo tonight. That's for sure.
Well, she probably would have been running up the home straight because she's only just won by he's only just won by a neck beating Dancers and Tetra. Got up on the sprint lane to score.
A great friend of ours too. In Donna Castle's right in second. She's always very good to us.
Correct. So. And then the fifth was a 3-year-old trot, won by Kiang Stuka for Marg and Jason Lee. A 3-year-old by Wishing Stone out of Star of Olesia, who was able to win. And I'm just having a quick look, and it's a debutante victory, so first start, first win.
First start, first win. I could have worked that out without you having a look, but it's okay.
Whatever.
Sorry, I have to be cheeky. Brad Steele. Now, Daniel, while I do have you on, and I heard in a story with Chris Barsby, and he says, he doesn't pre-plan anything and all the rest. His calls were entertaining. That's the one thing I bang on about. He was great to listen to, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is absolutely brilliant. I mean, we can have the best laid plans going around, and it can all go out the window within 2 seconds, and that definitely happens more so for me calling dogs than in the trots. But I mean, what he was able to produce there on Saturday night, particularly with Leap to Fame, I mean that line is just. Yeah, if you're ever going to hear it again, there's only two reasons you're going to hear it. It's either you're watching Gladiator or you're watching Leap to Fame. Yep,
absolutely. And it was brilliant. And it must be, I'd love to know the mindset, I suppose, in this. With the trot, the Great Square, it's the inaugural running, so he's probably got something about the first time and a lot of things. But there was a lot happen in that last 400 metres. I mean, you've got Chris Finozio, Eyeball and Dave Miles. They sort of looked to have it a little bit, and then all of a sudden you could see this horse emerge. But he probably wasn't 100% sure who it was. And then sort of turn of fame, he's like, oh, yeah, this. So he had a bit going on. Leap to Fame was expected to win the race, possibly not in the domination that he did. But just, I'd love to know the mindset you go about when you say, you can sort of breathe and you say, well, this horse is going to win, so I can roll those lines out. Is that how it works, or is it just spontaneous? Well, it's
a bit of both. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bit of both. And I mean, I've had the opportunity to call a number of races now where you sort of, you've got someone that is expected to win, and you can sort of, you can think of a couple of lines. I mean, that's just my nature. I just sort of sit there. I've got a warped sense of humour, I guess, at times, and you just sort of think of a few different lines and stuff like that. But I mean, and sometimes you just never get to use them. Particularly those big races, and if you've got something just back in the in the drawer, in the locker, if you ever need it, you can use it. But sometimes it just doesn't play out that way. You don't get the opportunity to use it. It's a close finish, and your job's to call the race and get the right result of the right placings out, rather than being a smart aleck, I guess is probably the best way to put it. You're there to entertain, but you're also there to get it right.
Live and die by your sword that you do. So we need to get people to the game, and I think it definitely helps when the calls are the way they are. A lot of people don't enjoy the American ones, but I would imagine the Americans enjoy it that way. But I think it's unique to Australia the way the callers go about it, and it's terrific. And I think all of you guys do an amazing job. It is very, very hard. I'm a huge one. You talk about warped sense of humour. Myself and Lockie McIntosh, I think, are on a similar wavelength because I love some of his little one-liners. I'm sure a lot of people don't get them, but he just can be very, very cheeky with the little things that pop out of his mouth from time to time, Daniel.
Yeah, and I mean, you sometimes it might take you a couple of seconds to click, but when it clicks, it's like, I see where you're going there. I know what you're. And but for everyone that it gets it, there's probably about 25 or 30 that just don't get it at all.
Yeah, it is very good. Mate, great to have you back on. I think people might have thought I might have sacked you or kicked you to the touch, but you're always calling the Bendigo. And I suppose I've had a few things going on as well over the journey, but hopefully I'm hoping to continue on Loose Lines right through the summer months as well. I'll take it, going to try and make it a little bit more portable so that I can do these shows and still get the guests on. I think it's all good and well for me to go and sit in front of a camera, but the idea of this show is to have fun, but showcase it, get people involved in it. It's not structured. There's not to highlight big races or small races or anything along those lines, but just to have people, get them involved and have some fun, create a little bit of debate, which we will do, and go from there. I'll try and I reckon I might go Queensland since you're going to be, where are you calling next week? Back at Bendigo?
Yeah, Bendigo next week, and then, Wednesday and Friday, and then Sandown and Meadows the next 2 Saturday nights. So really looking forward to all the big races at the Meadows in particular.
Daniel, I did a butcher. Ballarat tomorrow night. Now there is the Australasian 2 trot races, the OPG races. There's only small fields in those. But I did get my nose out of joint, and I owe an apology to Harness Racing Australia, albeit a small one. Kiang Honeyjoy in the last, tomorrow night at Ballarat. It is in the VHRC Harassed Trotters 3-year-old. And in my stupidity, I just assumed Harassed Trotters would have been sponsoring a trot race. And I'm still a bit of a head scratcher as to why they weren't. First starter called Kiang Honeyjoy, who is immaculately bred by Rock and Roll Hanover out of Ballajoy. And she is actually eligible for the Eureka. Now, I wasn't all that happy with that. I thought, what a joke, because the horse is a trotter. It is not a trotter. I got it wrong, and I do apologise to every person. I am still frustrated at the fact that they can get the eligibilities, which I don't even know if that was ever there. When you click on a horse, you'll get the eligibility for the Eureka. Every 3-year-old and 4-year-old has that eligibility, I think, as long as they don't have an NZ next to their name. Is that right, Daniel? I reckon. Maybe.
I've sort of seen it, but it's
anyway. But
it's strange.
It was my mistake because, as I said, I still question that race being sponsored by Harassed Trotters and it not being a trot, because I'm pretty sure that's what they do. Anyway, but
it's a little bit odd, unless the race got deleted. There's a possibility.
Alex Early, I want the caller to try to work, and Lucid wins the Trotters Derby into their course.
We'll see what we can do.
Is that a phantom? Anyone wondering, Lucid is a 3-year-old trotter that Alex Early ran second at Melton last Friday night. Alex, where's it racing? Is it racing this Friday at Melton? I don't know. Went very, very good. Joshy Duggan took the reins on that occasion and had a little bit of back me next start, I must say. It's a big horse and it will get better with age. But, Alex is hopeful that she might be able to... Doesn't look like it's in at Melton this Friday night that I've got. You couldn't see it either.
No.
You can skim through too quickly sometimes. So Katrina Fitzpatrick's in the last draw 1 with Dream Over. He's knocking on the door for a win as well. Daniel, you and I could talk forever. Talk racing, talk fun. Thanks for coming back on. And I will get you on. And we're going to try and get a greyhound section. So I might even try and get you on even for a 5-minute blast in between races when the greyhounds are on, and keep the likes of Tim Zoo, Postman Pat, in everyone's minds and eyes, and just do it a little bit differently. Kilmore on the 20th. Oh, that's a week away. Okay, I was about to look at it. Kilmore's racing on the 15th. That's this Friday night. Just very quickly, just so people are aware, Metro Racing, 8 races, and the first race is at 4 minutes to 6. Daniel, bugbear in mind, and I reckon the Queenslanders will be still watching. So the last race is at 8:37. Huge metropolitan meeting at Albion Park. And yeah, the last race, so the TVs and the air conditioning will be going on 10 minutes before the running of the Garrard Sunshine Sprint. We need to be better than this, mate. We need to be able to at least have the people in the venues when the big races are on in other states. Happened at Bendigo last week with the Rising Sun. That's happened again this week with the Garrard Sunshine Sprint. Just a little message out there.
Don't understand. It makes no sense. Literally makes no sense. If you're only going to have 8 races, started at 7 o'clock because you're still going to be finished at 10.
And complement, like I understand. So, unlike Victoria, they'll put a 6-horse field on at the end of the night, and I do agree with that. I think Kilmore's got a 6-horse field at 6:30 in prime time, but starting too early and not complementing the industry as an industry as a whole. It is a racing industry, so we need to have a product on and keep people going, keep them into the totes. If you're just in there to bet on Victorian totes, after that race you walk out, you miss out on seeing Better Zip It, I Cast No Shadow, Black Sedate, the Magnificent Storm, doesn't have that in front of it, Expensive Ego, Leap to Fame, Hot and Treacherous, Macdan, Turn It Up, Spirit of St. Louis. Poor old Pete said so, who is airborne, his first emergency. It's a cracking race, and people will be walking away. People will be walking away from their TVs because they've got to wait another 12 minutes to watch it. We've got to be better than this, Daniel.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I get that it's winter, I get that, but why? If they had 10 or 11 races, I can understand that, and it's the same regardless of whether it's at Melton, Bendigo, or wherever. I get that. The earlier start with a reasonable finish, but why you'd be finishing at 8:30 on a Saturday night is beyond me. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, no, and then we've got Mildura and Melton. I'm just waiting for it to tick over. I'm just going to see what time the last is tomorrow night, because
10:42 at Mildura.
10:42 at Mildura and 10:20 at Melton. So why... as again, and the first race is at 5:42. Anyway, head scratcher. I'll leave it alone and won't delve into it too much. But let alone having 23 races on a Friday and 8 with a couple of small fields on a Saturday, another head scratcher. But anyway,
I mean, even like for me on Saturday, I'm at the Meadows. The first is up R6, and I know there's shorter gaps, but the first is up R6 and the last is at 10:10. So I mean, it's still a reasonable finish. And
so you're telling me that the greyhound people will be still watching their races and they'll be able to enjoy the Sunshine Sprint?
Correct.
Yep. All right, mate. Thank you. Really appreciate it. We'll be in touch, and hopefully we might even get to do a face-to-face live one day going shortly. Don't know where from. Maybe Bendigo. Might even go to Bendigo once the weather starts to warm up. We'll do it out there. But, mate, as always, thank you very much.
No worries, mate.
Thank you. Daniel Hibberd signing off. And thank you to everyone else that has got involved in the show. I will be back next week, Wednesday. This show will definitely be back. Not sure about Talking Trotters, whether I'll be back live next week or pre-record, catch up with a couple of people beforehand and go from there. But thank you very much. Thank you to everyone that is tunes in, Facebook, YouTube, and get involved. The show is about having fun. I'd like to raise some of the concerns that I have and participants have, but at the end of the day, we are just here to have a little bit of fun and enjoy harness racing and racing as well. All the Queenslanders, enjoy Queensland, enjoy your warm weather. To my Victorian friends, stay warm. Weather is turning, the sun is getting better, days are a touch longer. Stay warm and enjoy. And on Loose Lines, we'll be back next week, same time. Please get involved.